everybody. Welcome to the Construction Record Podcast. I'm digital media editor Warren Frey, and with me today I have.
Hi, Warren. My name is Mickel Maalouf. I'm the Senior Representative in the Sustainable Building Science Department at Huntsman Building Solutions.
And let's start with that. What does Huntsman Building Solutions do?
Well, as the name suggests, we offer building solutions, building insulation and air tightness and basically water tightness for buildings using spray foam insulation.
Mhm.
So technically, we're a spray foam manufacturer. However, we also come up with, as I said, solutions, assemblies and innovations to really help architects, homeowners, building owners really find, a more holistic solution that doesn't just include spray foam, but includes the whole, uh, um, durability of the envelope.
Okay, and one of those, I assume, is environmental product declaration. So maybe you could explain what that is and how it sort of fits in the mix with all the solutions you're talking about.
Yeah, so the environmental product declaration is actually it's an environmental report that declares the whole environmental impact of a specific product across its whole life cycle. So our heat lock HFO product line is actually the first and only spray foam product line currently on the market that has its own environmental product declaration that is specific to the product. There's a difference between a product specific EPD or an industry wide EPD. The industry wide EPD basically takes different products from different manufacturers and basically averages their environmental impact and makes a report based on that. And we are Heatlock HFO is part of the industry average. However, we also went ahead and published our own environmental product declaration. So, as I said, it's product specific, but it's also a type 3 product declaration. So it's basically the most complete type of product environmental product declaration. It declares the environmental impact, as I said, across the whole life cycle. So it's really a cradle to grave life cycle assessment. So all of the carbon emissions from the raw material extractions all the way to the manufacturing process, to the use phase of the product, and all the way down to the end of life of the product, including all the transportation emissions in between. So cradle to grave and type 3 means that the whole LCA, the whole life cycle assessment, and the whole EPD was done externally by a third-party environmental consultant. We dealt with Sustainable Solutions and Sfera, and it was also verified externally by UL Environment. So everything is done externally and verified externally according to the applicable ISO standards.
Okay, so say I'm a contractor and when would I need to look for an environmental product declaration, and what would this declaration tell me specifically to the project I'm working on?
Yeah, the environmental product declarations are, increasingly requested by builders and architects and owners because people are looking to specify products with, that have a life cycle information that is publicly declared and which showcase a reduction in their carbon emissions. Basically, that's the point: is that the EPD showcases the environmental impact of the product according to 6 different environmental impact categories. Environmental impact categories, they can be ozone depleting potential. So how much, what is the potential of the carbon emissions from the product, the GHG emissions, what is their potential to deplete the ozone layer? There's acidification potential. What is the potential of the carbon emissions to basically contribute to acid rain? There's eutrophication potential. This is an important one that we don't really talk about or we don't really hear about publicly. The eutrophication is basically a phenomenon in which GHGs and some nutrients, they contribute to, they get released in water bodies and they contribute to the proliferation of excess algae and marine plants, which then suck the oxygen from the water bodies
Mhm.
and end up in killing marine life. And so this eutrophication potential is declared in an environmental in an environmental product declaration. But the impact category that we talk about the most is global warming potential, GWP. And so people are looking for really products that are the most sustainable and that have a really reduced GWP, so that we can, try to slow down global warming, basically. So what we did is that not only did we have our EPD published, but then we used it to compare our life cycle assessment results, so basically the environmental impact of our heat lock HFO product, to other types of insulation products, including the industry average of the HFO spray foam industry, and other products such as heavy density mineral wool that you use on the outside of buildings, low density mineral wool that you use between studs, polystyrene boards that are also HFO blown, polyiso as well. So we really compared to different products to showcase a significant reduction in global warming potential of our product compared to others.
And since you're addressing global warming, which implies planning 30, 40, 50, 100 years out, this is not just for people building. This is for architects, engineers, people in the design stage of things. So maybe you could go into how that area of a building project uses the information you're giving them.
Yeah, we often, very often, get requests for people who want to diminish basically the impact, the environmental impact of the whole project. There are two of the main ways to do so are, first, to specify products that demonstrate a reduction in carbon emissions through an EPD, just like heat lock HFO. But the second thing is to choose products that can increase the energy efficiency of the building envelopes, because as we know, increased energy efficiency, a tighter building envelope means that we can reduce the loads on HVAC, heating, cooling, and powering our buildings, and therefore reduce the resulting operational carbon emissions that results from the HVAC and the operating of our buildings. So we often get requests for that from people who want to demonstrate the reduced environmental impact of their buildings through energy modeling and through also a whole building life cycle assessment. So we have our product life cycle assessment, the EPD, but people can use that to basically assess the whole building as a whole. So it can definitely contribute to that. It also contributes to LEED for anybody who creates LEED projects. Having a product specific type 3 EPD based on a full life cycle assessment gives LEED points.
Okay, and what's the future of environmental product declarations? I'm sure that we aren't frozen at just what data you've got now. I'm sure there's fields that you're looking at or areas of danger for environmental effects that haven't been put in the system yet and probably will be soon.
Yeah, well, there's always place for improvement, for sure. As technology evolves, we can demonstrate even more of a reduced environmental impact. For now, the EPD takes into consideration, preconceived ideas that, from the literature that involves the fact that, all of the spray foam, when it's sprayed, for example, it uses diesel generators for the equipment to spray the foam. However, in the future, we're going to need to update that when, for example, there are new machines that may come into the market that use that are electricity generated instead of diesel, so we can greatly reduce the carbon emissions while spraying the foam, and this will be reflected in our EPD. And this brings me also to the point that the EPD not only allows us to compare products to products for publishing, for informing the clients, but it also what it does is that it allows manufacturers to basically pinpoint or target the problem life cycle stages. For example, it gives us the relative weight of each life cycle stage compared to the other when it comes to carbon emissions. So we can see that it's pretty consistent across the board, across all types of insulation, that the manufacturing process and the raw material extraction is the life cycle stage that is the most significant when it comes to carbon emissions. However, in the case of spray foam, one area that we produced carbon emissions that other types of insulation don't is while spraying the foam at the installation. When you install boards, you just install the boards. There's no emissions involved. But when you spray foam, you need to use the diesel generators. So even though we have a higher carbon emissions during the installation phase, overall across the whole life cycle, we still showcase a lower carbon emissions compared to other types of insulation. And this is mainly due to the new generation HFO blowing agents. That is very important to talk about, which has a very, very little global warming potential. Its global warming potential of the HFO blowing agent is 1. Compared to the old HFC blowing agent that used to be involved in the old generation of our product, its global warming potential was 1,030. So we are 99.9% lower than the previous generation of HFO blowing agent that was used in the previous generation of spray foam. This is the main contributor to the reduced global warming potential. But not only that, but also recycled content. We have 18% recycled content. We use recycled plastic, as well as soy oil. So all of the petroleum oil has been replaced by the renewable content, which is soy oil. So we can really avoid the carbon emissions that are involved during the extraction and manufacturing process of virgin raw materials.
And so finally, if our listeners are interested in environmental product declaration and Huntsman Building Solutions, where should they go to find more information?
On our website, we have our EPD that is published on huntsmanbuildingsolutions.com. But not only that, we also have an EPD white paper and an EPD brochure that basically gives even more information that I gave now. It's really a complete sustainability summary that starts by describing what is global warming potential, why is it important, what is the global warming, what are the main issues, and how, as a building product manufacturer, we have a responsibility to basically, help reduce the severity of this problem using sustainable products. So it's all summarized in the EPD white paper and brochure that is found on our website.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mickel, for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Warren.